So again, that's kind of the quickest and easiest way to get things out there. So these two examples were selling on Facebook and Instagram, not using those social media shop platforms, but just using it as you normally would post, and then coming up with a structure for your customers to show that they want that item, and then kind of offline doing that transaction. So when I say offline, obviously you're still online, but you're not completing the transaction through Facebook or Instagram. You're actually completing it through a third party like PayPal or Venmo or whatever it is that you're going to use to collect those funds. Facebook and Instagram, they do have their own selling platforms, and that might be a step for you if you think that, hey, I'm probably going to still want to offer some of my things online even after this is all over, and I'm willing to invest the time to set up my Facebook and Instagram stores or sell things on Marketplace. You absolutely can do that. So if you may not even know it, because Facebook, when you first create your Facebook page, if you've been in business for a while, they probably didn't have the shopping option, but they do now have a shopping option. And you can go into your settings and add the store to your Facebook account. You can also do that in Instagram, and you can actually upload all of your products, the descriptions, set up your payment settings. So whether you're linking it to your bank account or PayPal or whatever it is that you use, and then your customers can actually complete the transaction on Facebook or Instagram. So you can actually sell through that as well. And honestly, I mean, that is a great option. If you are going to, and I've got an example here of what that looks like. So here you can see what a Facebook store looks like. So just, you have your normal home, about, and then you have a new tab on your Facebook page that says shop, and you can upload a picture, the description, the amount. There are shipping settings in there as well, so you can say how much to add for shipping. So it's really just kind of like an e-commerce, on a website, but you're just using it through your Facebook or Instagram. Same thing on, there's an image here of what it looks like on Instagram as well. So again, if you think that you are going to want to continue to sell and complete transactions online later, and you're not needing some sales this week or next week, then you might want to look into creating and doing your store on Facebook and Instagram. And again, obviously, I'm not going to go through all the steps of how you do that on this webinar, but we would be available to help you in that capacity as well. If you need help getting that set up and you think that's a strategy you want to go with, these are options. So again, you don't necessarily have to have your own website, have to have your own e-commerce. You can sell through Facebook and Instagram and have your own store there as well.
So Courtney, we have a question.
Sure.
So somebody brought up a good point that in a way Zoom is kind of becoming its own social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
So is there, if you think about it in that respect, can you think of any products or services that would do well on the Zoom platform? Yeah,
so especially if you're in the service space. So I can tell you two different things that I've actually paid for through Zoom. So my son, he has a tutor normally. And at first, when this first started, we didn't utilize the tutor because he goes after school and he meets with his tutor and he does his work. But I quickly realized that I'm not a homeschool teacher at all. So I reached out to her, and now we do weekly, if not more. So she's actually making more money than what we usually spent before, because I'm like, you know what? We can log on to Zoom. Zoom's amazing because if you haven't gotten in there yet and really saw the features, you can share your screen and you can give the other person remote access to it. So you can actually take control of their screen. They can take control of your screen. So she can actually, from her computer, basically get into my son's assignments and go through everything with him. And then I just send her money through PayPal. So that's a service. My esthetician, she offered virtual facials. So she gets on the Zoom call, schedules a Zoom call, has a conversation. She can see the skin, kind of see what's going on with your skin, recommend products. So she charges for the Zoom consultation, but then also once determines what products you need, sells those to you as well, and then either drops them off or delivers them to you. So yeah, there are multiple ways that you could use Zoom as well. If you're a website designer, if you're a marketer, if you're any kind of a service base like that, I was helping somebody develop a website the other day. Same thing. We got on a Zoom call. He shared his screen. I took over his screen, was able to get into his website and was able to connect his domain and everything just virtually. I didn't have to talk him through it on the phone. I could actually do it for him. And obviously I wasn't sending him an invoice because it was through SBDC. But if you are in that type of capacity, you could absolutely do that and then send them an invoice through that. So yeah, anything that you can think of that's face-to-face. And we're doing, I'm on a board for a local counseling operation here. And we've just moved all of our mental health services to Zoom calls. They do a Zoom call to invoice after, life coaching, really anything of that capacity, walking somebody through a tutorial, teaching them something, any of that could be done through Zoom. Zoom doesn't have a payment platform that I'm aware of, but you could schedule the Zoom through just on your own, or you could use like bookings, which is a thing through Square. So there's different things you could use to actually streamline them, booking your services and paying for your services. And then just you're delivering the service via Zoom. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So those were all, so if you've noticed what we're how I've set this up is like easiest to implement, but short term to harder to implement or longer to implement, but could potentially have a long-term benefit and long-term utilization for your business. So the first thing was just posting on Facebook and Instagram and processing the transaction quickly through PayPal or Venmo or whatever you're using. Doesn't take you really any time to get that set up. Next was Facebook and Instagram. Getting that, it takes a little bit of time to get set up, but not a ton of money invested. The next that I'm going to show you is you could, if you've decided that I do need a full-blown e-commerce solution. Obviously, there's tons out there, so Wix is not the only one. I always cover Wix because I feel like it's easier to get set up and it has a nice e-commerce platform that you can use. So Wix is usually about $28 a month. So you could get a website set up and actually get the e-commerce and set your store up and take the items from your storefront and list them on Wix. And it's really set more, Wix itself is, you don't necessarily need a web developer to do that for you. We help a lot with this in our office, and it's a little more self-explanatory, kind of like Canva, where you don't have to have a design background to set up a website in Wix, so that's why I cover it. But obviously, you can set up your own website. The benefit of having your own website is there are no listing fees, no commission fees. You still can set up your payment processing however you want to do that. Link your bank account. You can have a PayPal option on there if you feel like your customers want to do their transaction through PayPal versus directly on your website. So that would be the next step of just actually deciding I want a full-blown e-commerce store. Again, my recommendation would probably not be that right now, unless it's more like I finally have time on my hands to focus on this. But by the time you would get your full website up and your e-commerce store up, whether it be on Wix or Squarespace or whatever website tool you decide, I hope we're open. I hope you could open your store by then, because it would take you, probably 4 to 6 weeks, depending on who you're working with, to get everything uploaded and in there. But it might be a good idea too. Again, if you have idle time, and this is a time you can actually decide to do this, and you think that having an e-commerce platform would help you later on in your business, even after everything's open, this might be something that you want to do. So there's a full-blown e-commerce side of it, which is a full store. You have to upload all of your products. You have to upload the shipping side of it. So how much does it weigh? If I order 3 shirts versus 1, are you putting them all in a flat rate box? Are you, so you have to put a lot of time and thought into the shipping so it can calculate that. So you have to actually set up all of that in the actual e-commerce side. But there are another option. Even if you have Wix, or if you already have a website, or if you don't have a website and you want to get something started through Wix or Squarespace or one of the easier websites, you can set up a one-page website and then use a form embed. So like this here is an example of this form here is Wufoo. So WUFOO. There's tons of them out there. There's Form Builder, there's Google Forms. I mean, you name it. This one just happens to be in Wufoo. Wufoo is free to use unless you want to use the payment side of it. So this business here was a client. They don't mind me sharing this information. I developed this form that's on here almost 4 years ago. And at the time, it was one guy, he's a chef. And he decided to do this meals to go option. So he offers a different menu every week. You sign up for what you want. And then you go pick it up at this farmhouse. They also have catering, but so this is just one aspect of it. But they liked the form so much, and they have it on their website. They've never developed a full e-commerce solution. They just use the form, and they've been using it for 4 years, and this for them works. They've just recently, so before they had it where you just went into the form, you put your name in there, said when you were picking it up, and it just said what they were offering that week, and you just chose it, and you didn't actually pay online. You actually went in when you picked it up and then paid. But due to people not being able to walk into their location right now, they now have turned on the payment features in this form, which just all that means is like, I think they pay like, maybe $10 more a month to the form builder company to be able to have payments turned on. So now they have payments turned on so somebody can actually complete the transaction in the form itself, and it's paid for when they go to pick up their food. So you don't have to you can have a website, even if you already have a website that isn't an e-commerce website, maybe it's just your information. You can use some type of a form like this. Again, this is Wufoo, but there's other ones out there that you could just create a form and list a couple of, whether it be products or services, and they can actually check out right in that form. And that doesn't take much time to get set up either. So there are multiple ways for you to complete your transaction online without taking the time to set up a full-blown store.
Hey, Courtney,
Yep.
just a quick question. Can you just spell that real quick?
Wufoo, WUFOO.
Okay.
Again, there's plenty of them, though. You can just Google forms, forms that take payment, anything like that. I mean, there's just tons of stuff out there for this kind of thing.